A small, isolated community in 19th-century Pennsylvania is terrified of unidentified humanoid beings who lurk in the nearby woods. The perimeter of the settlement is guarded by tall poles with oil lamps and manned watchtowers. Red is also forbidden since it draws the creatures. Lucius Hunt asks the elders for permission to go through the woods and get medical supplies from the towns after a young villager dies, but he is turned down. This is done to prevent other tragedies. Afterwards, Alice, Lucius's widowed mother, questions his desire to travel to the towns, which the elders characterize as evil. Each of the elderly people has a closed black box filled with mysterious objects, and they all seem to have secrets. We find that the monsters will remain away from the villagers as long as they stay out of the woods. Though he subsequently informs the elders that it was safe, Lucius sneaks into the woods. Skinned animal carcasses show up in the village shortly after. The creatures show up in the village one night and warn everyone by splattering red paint on their doors. Kitty, the younger daughter of Elder Edward Walker, has feelings for Lucius, but he is in love with Ivy, Kitty's blind sister. Ivy and Lucius can get engaged since Kitty marries someone else. A young guy named Noah Percy, who appears to have a developmental impairment, stabs Lucius before they get married out of jealousy. Noah is still imprisoned in a small building while the elders deliberate over his future. By sending Ivy and two young men into the forest to get medicine for Lucius, who is barely alive, Edward disobeys the other elders. Edward informs Ivy of his wealthy father's murder before she departs. Then, he acknowledges that the creatures are really the elders dressed as monsters to carry on the myth so they could frighten and discourage the younger members from leaving. However, he also informs her that legend suggests that these creatures might actually exist. The two boys get scared in the woods and leave Ivy behind. As she keeps going, a creature follows her, which she tricks into falling into a deep hole and dying. Noah is the creature, dressed in a costume he discovered concealed beneath floorboards. In the meantime, pictures of themselves and the other elders taken when they were much younger are revealed when Edward and his wife, Tabitha, open their box. It becomes clear that the group is outside a counseling center from the present era, that is, the early 21st century. Ivy scales a tall wall. On the other side, she encounters a Walker Wildlife Reserve park ranger, who is shocked that she came from the woods. Ivy hands him a list of the medications she needs to buy. The ranger collects the medication without informing his boss or bringing up Ivy. It is revealed that the village was established more than 20 years ago by former history professor Edward Walker. He recruited people he met at a grief counseling clinic to isolate themselves from societal violence. Edward's family fortune funds the wildlife reserve, built the village inside it, and even paid the government to make it a no-fly zone. Ivy returns to the village with the medication, never seeing the modern world. The elders' boxes are shown to contain mementos and other items from their earlier lives. Their voices are heard recalling past traumas. The elders gather around Lucius's bed after learning that Ivy has returned and that a monster, Noah, was killed. Edward comforts Noah's grieving parents by saying that his death will enable them to continue the farce that creatures inhabit the woods.